Welcome, everyone. Ready to dive deep into evolutionary aesthetics. We're going to uncover how beauty, actually shaped life on Earth.
Yeah, it's a journey from flashy birds to some interesting duck bits, let's say.
We've got papers, Richard Promey, The Evolution of Beauty book,
Yeah.
all about how mate choice, driven by what looks good, is powerful in evolution, surprisingly so.
We think survival of the fittest, right? But pure beauty, it has its own logic in evolution.
Nature's got an artistic side, more than just surviving, huh?
Totally. And it goes beyond birds. We'll see how it ties into us humans, too.
Okay, I'm hooked already. Where do we even start with this beauty's hidden hand thing?
Well, with the OG, Darwin himself, everyone knows natural selection, but he had these radical ideas about beauty's role, too.
Darwin, radical, not the image I had. What made his beauty views so controversial?
He saw beauty as more than just a fluke, like mate choice, driven by looks, shapes the diversity of life. He even made a whole separate theory, sexual selection, for traits that don't help survival.
So surviving wasn't enough, you had to be hot to thrive.
Kinda, yeah. Beauty was its own advantage for attracting mates, he said. But not everyone was on board. Wallace, big disagreement there.
Ah, Wallace, the co-discoverer guy.
Yeah.
Heard they butted heads over beauty's evolution.
Wallace was all about adaptation. Every trait had a purpose, helped you survive. Even beauty. Couldn't get how something frivolous evolved.
Darwin, the beauty champ, versus Wallace, the practicality guy.
Nailed it. Debate's still going on. Does beauty equal good genes, like Wallace thought, or is it just what mates like Darwin's side?
Yeah. We assume beauty's got to be useful, right?
Mm.
Sign of health, good genes.
Common thought, but not always true. Like, take the peacock's tail, classic beauty, but so impractical.
Oh, yeah, the peacock. Gorgeous, but seems like easy predator food. How'd that evolve?
Darwin's critics were like, what's with female peacocks? Are they dumb? One guy even said they had fickle feminine caprice.
Oh, it's a little dismissive, isn't it?
Totally. But the point is, they couldn't accept that beauty might not be useful.
So what Darwin say back to that?
Basically, peahens just like the fancy tales, even if it doesn't help the male survive. Beauty was a force on its own, stronger than practicality.
Peacocks, where beauty beats practicality. Almost rebellious, huh?
It is. And that idea, beauty not always being a good gene signal, that's key to how we study beauty and evolution today.
So sometimes beauty just happens. Doesn't have to need anything other than, well, being pretty.
That's the IE question. Ram says beauty happens should be our starting point when we study mate choice.
Starting point. Need a jargon refresh? Been a while since science class.
Sure, it's like the default assumption. Gotta rule that out before you can say a trait evolved because it means something, like good health.
So before saying this trait evolved because it's hot, gotta make sure it didn't evolve just because it's hot.
You got it. Don't assume every pretty thing is hiding some secret good gene advantage. Beauty might just be the advantage.
Wow, that really changes how you see nature, huh?
Mm.
If everything's just practical, we miss the desire part, right? Like beauty is its own kind of currency in evolution's market.
Exactly. And to see it in action, we gotta look at birds with crazy mating displays.
Now you're talking. I've heard about these birds taking beauty to the extreme.
Mannequins. Tropical birds, some of the most elaborate, even weird mating displays in the whole kingdom.
Mannequins. Do tell, what's so special about them?
Imagine a bird dancing on a log, wings making violin sounds, even group routines, all for a mate.
Violin sounds. Seriously.
Absolutely. That's just the beginning we're going where beauty has no limits, traits that defy nature almost.
Okay, I'm in. Let's meet these rainforest artists.
First stop, Suriname rainforest, home of the white-throated mannequin, the log dancing champ. So you're in the rainforest, right? Humid, smells earthy, like all those flowers. Then you hear this. Wings, but also a popping sound from a log.
Sounds like a sci-fi movie. What am I even looking at?
That's our guy, the white-throated mannequin. Small, blue-black, but a bright white throat patch. And that log, his stage.
Stage. So it's a performance.
Oh, yeah. This guy does these precise moves, all on the log, leaps, shuffles backward, even shivers his wings so you see these flashes of white under the black.
A whole dance routine, just to impress the ladies.
Got it. Like he's saying, look at me, I'm strong, I got the moves, and the females are judging who's the best.
But how'd it get so complex? Seems like a lot of effort just for a few seconds of attention.
That's evolution, man. Tiny changes over millions of years get amplified because the females are choosing. The ones with slightly cooler moves had a tiny advantage, and bam, now we got these crazy displays.
So chance and choice, huh? Random mutations give the options. Females pick what looks best.
Exactly. And that brings up another cool thing, phylogeny.
What now?
It's like the family tree of species. Shows how they're related, branched off from ancestors way back when.
So with mannequins, we see how their displays evolved, how tastes changed over time.
Yep, there's like 50 types of mannequins, each with their own look, moves, sounds. It's wild.
A whole artistic dynasty.
Yeah.
Where to next on this mannequin world tour?
Andes Mountains, Ecuador. Cloud forests, misty. That's where we find the golden-winged mannequin.
Sounds like a quest. Why is this one so hard to find?
Remote, man. Dense forests, steep, always foggy. Tough to spot these little black birds.
But worth it, I'm guessing. What's their display like?
They got these golden crowns, like literally gleam in the dim light, and they do individual stuff, Andy routines with other males.
So they dance together.
Kinda. They take turns, hop onto this display perch, flash the gold, then hop down so their buddy can go.
A bird ballet. What's the benefit of doing it together, though?
Good question. It shows when we study beauty, it's not just the trait, but the context, the social side of it.
So not just what's pretty, but how they use the pretty.
Exactly. And now for the most mind-blowing one, the club-winged mannequin. This guy had a secret that baffled scientists for ages.
Okay, now I gotta know. What's the club-winged secret?
Imagine a high-pitched sound like a tiny violin in the forest. Researchers had no clue where it came from for years.
A violin bird. No way. How they figure it out?
High-speed cameras and some real scientific detective work. Turns out, it's not the bird's voice, it's the feathers.
Feathers making music. How's that even work?
So the male's got these special wing feathers, thickened, twisted shafts and little resonating bits. When he snaps his wings super fast, they vibrate, making that violin sound.
Nature's tiny orchestra.
Ah.
But that kind of fancy stuff, gotta have a downside, right?
You know it. Those wing bones, they're changed to make the sound, but it makes flying worse. And females love the song, so even the females have these weird wings now.
Beauty has its price, for sure. How far can this go, though? Any limit to how extreme beauty can get?
Tough question. And to explore it, we gotta leave the pretty songs behind, get into something more unconventional, shall we say.
I think I know where this is going. Duck sex, isn't it?
You got it. Can't talk evolutionary aesthetics without the, interesting world of duck genitalia.
Now, let's get weird. Most birds don't have the usual male bits, right? Human beauty, though.
Mm-hmm.
It feels way more complicated than with animals. Where do we even start with evolution in that?
True, it's biology and culture mixed up. But even then, there's hints from our evolution that tell us what we find attractive.
So even with all the fashion stuff, there's a basic instinct for what's hot.
Yep. One way to see it is what's attractive across cultures.
But earlier we were saying, does beauty always have to mean something else?
Good catch. Symmetry and good genes, it's not that simple. It matters, but it's not the whole story. Lots of beauty just doesn't make sense for survival.
Okay, so if not just symmetry, what else draws us in? What else could evolution have shaped?
Let's take a page from the ducks. Think about genitalia and human attraction.
Whoa, hold up. Genitalia. Not exactly the first thing that pops into my head with beauty.
Might seem awkward, but it's important. Like the ducks, ours have been evolving for millions of years too. Tells us about mate choice, that conflict between sexes and beauty, all in humans.
Now, you got me curious. What's the evolutionary story with RR parts?
Well, guys have big penises compared to other primates, and we don't have a baculum.
Oh, what now?
It's a bone. Lots of mammals have it in their penis, but not us, and that's interesting.
Okay, lay on me. What's the baculum or no baculum got to do with human evolution?
Few theories. Maybe walking upright had something to do with it. Or maybe it's how our mating changed, less forcing things, more courtship and bonding.
So walking and other stuff affected how those parts evolved.
Could be. And that's just one thing. The shape of the penis, female parts being more prominent.
Yeah,
Lots of theories about how those evolved too.
I bet. But is it really mate choice that shaped them or just random evolution?
Hard to say for sure with humans, but there's good arguments for looks playing a part.
So what we find sexy might be from way back in our evolutionary history.
Possibly. And not just the obvious stuff. Faces, body hair, even voice pitch, they all matter in attraction. Could be from natural sexual selection working over time.
But how do we know it's evolution, not just what our culture tells us is hot? Seems like beautiful changes all the time, depending where you are.
Big question. That's the tricky part of studying us. Gotta look beyond just humans. Compare to other primates, see the bigger picture of how we evolved.
Primate comparison time.
Kinda. We look at chimps, bonobos, all sorts of mating systems from monogamy to, well, the bonobos, they're known for their unique ways of getting along.
Oh yeah, the bonobos, all about that conflict resolution through other activities, right?
Exactly. Shows how different primates can be. But for us, chimps are the closer match.
So what we learn from the chimps, evolutionarily speaking.
Well, they're social, like us, complex groups all about who's the boss.
Okay.
And mating, lots of competition, and yeah, unfortunately, coercion too.
Meaning sexual violence.
Sadly, yeah. Chimp guys use force to get mates. So the question is, did you inherit that from our shared ancestor? Or did we evolve differently?
Heavy stuff. So did we break free from that aggression pattern?
Looks like humans did evolve towards more female control, more say in who they mate with.
Women got more power over reproduction. How'd that happen?
Probably lots of things combined, like our bodies, our behaviors, how society is structured. For one, we don't have obvious signs of when women are fertile, so guys can't just, force it at the right time.
So we became less about brute force, more about winning someone over.
Exactly. And that might be why we have things like dads caring for kids, long-term couples, stuff that makes human relationships so complicated but interesting.
So all that complex relationship stuff comes from women getting more say in mating?
Strong argument for that. Shows how sex, choice, and how we act as a species are all tangled up. But to see how that shift to more autonomy happened, gotta think about a pretty radical idea. Comes from an old Greek play, actually.
A play. Now, I'm really curious, how's ancient Greece tied into evolution?
The play's called Lysistrata. It's like a metaphor for how powerful female choice can be in changing behavior.
Okay, I'm listening. What's this Lysistrata effect?
So, Athens and Sparta, at war, right? Guys are fighting, women deal with the consequences.
Sadly, not that hard to imagine.
Right. But in the play, the women are like, enough. They come up with this plan to make the men stop the war.
Okay, what's the plan? I'm hooked.
They go on a sex strike. No more relations with their husbands till the war ends.
Whoa, that's power.
It is. The women realized they had something the men couldn't ignore. They uses their choice, in this case about sex, to force a change in behavior.
So you're saying maybe that happened in evolution too. Women used who they chose as mates to, get rid of the aggressive guys.
It's a new idea, but some scientists think so. Basically, women preferring the less violent guys over time made humans more peaceful.
Breeding out the jerks, basically.
Kinda, yeah. Choosing the chill guys meant less violence, more cooperation in humans.
Fascinating. But for that to work, the guy's got to be open to changing too, right?
Of course. That's coevolution at work. Women's tastes change. Men gotta adapt to become attractive, more cooperative, good partners.
Like a dance. Both sides adjusting to stay in sync.
Perfect analogy. And the music for that dance, beauty.
Love it. So in this grand dance,
Yeah.
beauty's calling the shots, shaping us, how we act, basically all of human society.
Beautiful way to put it, but our beauty journey's not done yet. How'd all this lead to, art?
Art. You're saying the urge to make Andy like art is from evolution.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna explore. We think of art as paintings, music, human stuff, right? But what if art, at its core, is older than us? What if nature is full of biotic art?
Bionic art. Gotta explain that one.
Picture a bowerbird arranging colorful junk just so, making the structure to attract a mate. Or our mannequin dancing wing snaps perfectly timed. That's not just surviving, it's creative, expressive beyond practical use.
Yeah, those displays, the bowers, they do feel kind of artistic.
Right. That's biotic art. The same forces that shaped how animals look, act, maybe they also made us appreciate beauty, make beauty.
So a bower is a sculpture, a mannequin dance is performance art.
In a way, yeah. They're meant to get a reaction from the mate. Communication, persuasion, showing off. And like human art, it's shaped by what the audience likes.
Natural selection meets art critic. The best-looking displays, the ones females dig, those get passed on.
Exactly. The female bowerbird is like the art judge, deciding what's good, what gets to continue. She's shaping bowerbird art.
This is blowing my mind. Art isn't just us humans putting our taste on nature. Nature has taste. It's got its own art, evolved for ages.
That's what's so cool about this whole thing. It makes us rethink art, realize creativity's everywhere, and look at the world differently.
So we went from peacocks to duck, parts to bird sculptures, mate choice, conflict, women's power in choosing, and even the idea that art's bigger than just us. What's it all mean? Where do we go from here?
That's the exciting part. This was just a peek into evolutionary aesthetics. There's so much more to discover.
What are the big questions? The mystery's still out there.
For one, we're barely starting to understand how different animals see beauty, what's going on in their brains. We're getting there, but there's tons to learn.
Do they feel it like we do? Awe, wonder, or is it totally different?
Big questions philosophers and scientists have been asking forever, but now, with brain science and how we study animals, we're getting closer to answers.
The beauty mystery continues.
It does. That's what keeps it exciting. Always more to find out.
Well said. And our listeners, I'm sure they've got tons of questions now. What's one last thought, something to really make them think after this?
Here's one. If beauty's been so important in shaping nature, like it's part of how life evolved, what does that say about US and art? Is liking beautiful things just left over from evolution? Or is there something more, something connecting us to that creative force that made life itself?
Wow, big question. It reminds us art's not separate from nature. It's how we fit into nature, how we're connected to everything else. So as y'all go about your day, look around, see the beauty, the patterns, the colors, hear the sounds, and think, what's that beauty telling us? What's its story? And how does it connect us to this huge, amazing history of life, all shaped by evolution? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.